Super excited to introduce Roger from Hoppier. Hello, Roger. How are you?
Hey, Liz, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us today. Hoppier is another, we actually didn't work with all the tools today at techsytalk Global, but here we are with another tool that we got to work with. Hopefully you guys got to check out our techsytalk digital credit cards. I'm going to let you tell people more about it. But it was really fun to work with you guys. And I think, mix it up for attendees and engagement. So I'll let you take it from here, but excited to have you here today.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Liz. I appreciate it. All right. Hey, guys, I'm Roger Collins. I'm the Director of Customer Success here at Hoppier. And I'm really excited to be here today to talk about Hoppier. So Hoppier is a platform that makes it really easy to provide physical experiences at your virtual events. And when I say physical experiences, I mean, morning coffee, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, happy hour drinks, personalized gifts, rewards. What I really want to focus on today is the number one use case that people are using Hoppier for today. And that number one use case is providing food allowances to their attendees at their virtual events. Now, this should be an easy thing to do. It should be easy to provide lunches in it. And honestly, it's one of the most commonly used incentives to get people to register for our events or for our employees to attend. But it's not always easy to cover everybody in those events. So I just want to focus on a challenge here with this use case, and that challenge is coverage. So if we think about the traditional way of offering food delivery, a meal allowance to your attendees at a virtual event, you would think that you would go to a food delivery services platform and you would let them know that you had 100 attendees that you were expecting. And so you needed maybe $120 food vouchers for your attendees. And so your total investment is $2,000 and they give you 100 codes and then you would send out those 100 codes to your attendees. And I would bet you of the 100 attendees, probably 75% of your attendees are covered through the food delivery service voucher. Those attendees live in the city and they live close to a food delivery service zone. And I'm sure you've done your research and know that your attendees live in the US and you probably know what state they live in. But of those other 25% of your attendees, a lot of them probably live in rural locations. Like, what about your attendees in rural Wisconsin? Or maybe your attendees that live on Prince Edward Island where an Uber Eats doesn't reach to? Or what about your attendees in India or Japan or, other international places where your attendees might tune in from? How do you make sure that you have 100% coverage for those attendees? Let's say you were to give them that food delivery service voucher and they live in a rural location. What's their options here? They're either going to give the voucher away or they're going to not use the voucher at all. And so you either haven't met your intent, which is giving an attendee an allowance for a meal, or you've burned budget because you've spent $2,000 on vouchers and maybe only $1,400 would be used and the rest would be burned through attendees that couldn't use them. And so how do you achieve that coverage? How do you achieve 100% coverage with virtual events and so many different types of attendees from so many different types of countries where they're tuning in from? And so you use Hoppier. So next slide, please, Liz. Awesome. So Hoppier is a platform, like I said, that makes it easy to provide physical experiences at virtual events. The way that we do that is by helping you send out branded, time-sensitive virtual Visa cards to your attendees, where you can also, you can actually restrict their spending right down to an individual vendor, such as Uber Eats or Grubhub or DoorDash or heck, just choose all of them. We also have, we're a global solution. We're going to work anywhere that US dollars and Visa is accepted. And so we even have catering services on the platform that will serve EMEA, APAC, the UK, such as Deliveroo or Dianping or Grab Food. And so you're actually able to restrict their spending right down to an individual vendor, or you're able to restrict their spending across an entire category. And so when I talk about coverage, when I think about attendees that are living in rural locations, whether they're in your own country or they're across the ocean, by enabling the category of restaurants, which is a category that we have on our platform, and giving them this virtual Visa card, they're actually able to use this Visa card on literally any restaurant that is registered as a business. As a restaurant. And so they would take that card and they would add it to their digital wallet, such as Apple Pay or Google Pay or Samsung Pay, and they can physically walk to the restaurant and place their order in a brick and mortar store by tapping their phone. And so this really helps us bridge the gap for hybrid events and also virtual events, and making sure that you have that, that 100% coverage. And so Liz, I'll get that next slide, please. Awesome. One thing that I really want to hammer home here as well is the brandability of these cards. So you're really giving your attendees a branded experience. And why this is so important, if you're an organization that's using this internally, is you want to make sure that your employees know that you're giving them this card and you're giving them this really amazing branded experience, and they feel connected to your company. But furthermore, when you're thinking about external initiatives and external events, you want to make sure that all the work that you've done into branding your event and bringing that brand collateral to light, you want to make sure that you're able to use that in every facet of the experiences in your virtual events. And furthermore to the branding piece, I'm sure with these external events, you guys are going after sponsors and you're looking for sponsors to maybe sponsor a swag bag or maybe sponsor even a lunch. What if you could brand this card with their colors, and you can really just put this in your toolkit and show them an example of a card that would be branded with their colors and their logo, and a title that says, conference lunch day 1 sponsored by X company. So it's really, really powerful. The branding element is very powerful. Another thing I want to touch on here is actually setting that time frame. Right. So many times with food delivery service vouchers, you give away a voucher and it may not be used during the day of your event. It may be used several months later or several weeks later. In this case, you're actually saying this Hoppier card or this virtual Visa card is available to spend between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on Monday, October 18th. And the attendee has to use this allowance during your event. If they don't use it, they lose the budget. Or their card is deactivated, and the budget comes back to you, so that you can put that budget maybe into prizes at the end of the event, or you can just roll that over into your next event. So we're a really great budget management tool for that as well. Once your event is over, we've got a nice transactions page that you can check out, where you can see all of the spending that all of your attendees have made. This is a pretty interesting page as for a marketer who's really looking at their audience to understand where they enjoy spending their money. You can see all of the transactions, where they spent it and for how much. And perhaps you can create a marketing strategy with these transactions to understand, just different types of ways that you can hone in on your audience when you're marketing to them. Next slide, please, Liz. So I just want to show you quickly what the participants will see when they onboard. This is what the participant experience looks like. They see their virtual card. They have their card numbers. And you'll see actually below that card, there's a box there. You see it's actually 34 Canadian dollars. Now, every card is distributed in US dollars, but like I said, we're a global solution and we're global friendly. And so on that currency drop down, you can actually switch your currency to see whatever is relevant to your local currency. So let's say you have people from India and they want to know how much they have in the equivalent of 20 US dollars in Indian rupees. So they can go ahead and use this card accurately. They can do that. So that's a really powerful feature as well. Attendees can add their own their own credit card to the platform to spend over their balance if they wish to spend more than the allowance that you've given them. And then on the right-hand side, you can see all the allowable vendors that they can choose to spend their allowance on. It's a Visa card. It's got a budget on it, and they can spend however many transactions it takes to get through that budget, so they can buy their coffee at Starbucks in the morning, and then they can go ahead and buy lunch at their favorite restaurant or through Uber Eats in the afternoon. Next slide, please, Liz. And so I just wanted to say, if anybody's interested in booking a demo with us, we're happy to give you a $15 Hoppier card. You can do that through www.hoppier.com, or you can email me directly, and I'm happy to get you set up.
Well, you can't make it any easier. I think you're going to be flooded with people who want to try this out. It looks like you guys have, I know that it's a tool that's really interesting and useful, but from the comments we are seeing, this is so awesome. I love Hoppier. This is so good. Love this idea. Bring on the swag. Lots of comments coming in that are very, very positive, but we do have a few questions and only a few minutes. And this may be something you've I'm sure you've come across this, Roger. Someone is asking, has anyone else come across where they won't let you use gift cards to staff because it's taxable and it limits how much giveaways? Anything to share there, or maybe that's just a challenge we all have?
Liz, it's really tough to say, and I'd be lying if I said we didn't come across this now and again. Something that's really interesting about food benefits is they're considered to be de minimis benefits. And what Hoppier allows you to do is choose exactly where this allowance is to be spent. So when it really comes down to policy and how your company views taxable and non-taxable and de minimis benefits, it's ultimately just a call that the organization needs to make. But if you, technically, if we were all in the office and we were providing a food allowance to attendee or to all of our employees, or in the conference room to our, well, I guess this is only relevant to employees. So if we were in the office with employees and we were to offer a catered lunch, it would just be de minimis and it wouldn't be considered a taxable benefit. So it's totally up to your organization, but we do come across this quite often.
Okay. Remind people how to book a demo. They want to do it right now.
Okay. All right. So hoppier.com, get started in the top right corner. You can book a demo that way, or you can email me directly at roger@hoppier.com.
Okay. How does the balance get reduced, or does it for exchange fees for global purchases?
Yeah, good question, Adam. So we're actually hooked up directly into the Forex exchange. So it's a real-time conversion rate from US dollars to whatever currency the attendee is flipping it to. The transaction still takes place in US dollars, but we're quite accurate on the conversion when we display it to the participant.
Got it. Someone is asking, is this live? The answer is yes, we are live right now taking your questions. Okay, we have more questions here. Goodness, lots of questions. Someone's asking if anyone gets FOMO with Hoppier. You don't have to, because now you can book a demo and get one for yourself. Are there processing fees for using the service, or how does monetization work?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So it's up to you. We have two different ways that you can pay for Hoppier. You can pay with a credit card, or you can pay with an ACH or a bank wire transfer. If you're paying with a bank wire transfer, then it's free. If you're paying with a credit card, there's a 3% payment processing fee. It's pretty standard. The difference between the two is on a credit card, it's a one business day lead time, and on an ACH or bank wire transfer, it takes 5 days. So in a lot of cases, we have event managers that come to us for an immediate need, and we end up getting started with a credit card. But for their second event and beyond, they'll work with finance to deposit a lump sum into their Hoppier account so that they can manage the remainder of the month's events with an ACH transfer.
Okay, another question. I think I saw this come up somewhere else as well. Is there a minimum amount to purchase?
Actually, no. We have no minimums, so you can get started with as little as one card. We have a usage-based platform for under 25 cards a month, and then we have more of a premium commitment if you're committing to a higher number of cards. But either way, our platform does become usage-based at some point over a 100-card commitment.
This is one of those things that's just like, it seems so simple. Why have we not been doing this for so long? We did use it for techsytalk, and it's just create the design, which is very, very simple, logo and some colors, upload your list, hit send, people claim it. And I love the idea that at the end, whatever is not used kind of comes back to you and can be reused, because we all know that that money is just sitting on gift cards like all around the world, lost somewhere. So thank you for that. We do have 1 minute left. I'm going to ask this question just because it's my husband who's asking. Any plans for crypto use? Is this in any way related?
Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. It's interesting though. We are working through the credit card system. We are reliant on the banks, right? Banks and institutions, and crypto is very interesting. We'll see how that plays out, and I'll leave that one to the founders.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, Roger, so much for sharing with us. Really excited for people to book. I had a lot of comments up, so I'm going to leave this slide for a few seconds so people can go book their demos and get their $15 Hoppier cards. Love what you guys are doing. So thank you so much for sharing today.
Thank you so much, Liz. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everyone.